First, a quick JavaScript aside. Let's make sure we understand a couple of things about object properties, first-class functions, and arrays that will allow us to understand the trick when it comes to the event emitter. All right, for starters, let's start with my empty app.js file. Let's look at object properties and methods. We've seen this. We just want to double check that we understand it. I'll create an object with object literal syntax. I have a name and a value. So that's my property. I can access the property on the object by saying dot and then the property name. So if I log that and then run this here, there it is, hello. But I can also use the syntax, brackets, and then a string, which is the name of the property. So this is able to be dynamic. I can have a string that I can change, and there's that second hello. And I could even then set a variable equal to a string value, and then use that variable. That can be a little confusing because this isn't itself prop, it's a variable name. This isn't the name of the property, but rather the string that the variable points to is what will be used, and that is the name of the property. And so this will still work. There's that third hello. This is key. I can have a string, a variable set to a string, and use that variable in brackets to get a particular property on an object. All right, now, functions and arrays. This is the other concept we need to be sure we have clear. An array is just a collection of things in JavaScript, and it could be a collection of anything. And I can use .push to add a new item to that collection. And it could be a number, it could be a string, and because functions are first class in JavaScript, I can use them like I do any other variable. It could be an object, and it can be just a function here, and I use a function expression to create the function on the fly. And I'll just say console.log hello world 1. So my function is inside my array, and I can actually put more than one function in there, of course, because an array can hold many things. So I now have 3 elements, 3 items in my array, and they happen to all be functions. So 3 functions sitting in an array. Not the value that comes back from the function. I haven't invoked the function, just the function itself is sitting in the array. Now, because it's a function, I can invoke it. I can invoke any of these functions, but I need to loop through the array to do that, or grab a specific element in the array. There's a number of ways I could loop over the array, but we'll use one that's built in. Every array gets a for each property, and all that means is I give it a function to run. I pass it to this for each function. I pass it a function, and then inside the for each it will call this function one time for every item in the array. So this first, second, and third item, it will call this function then 3 times and pass to it, when it invokes this function, pass to it the current item in the array, the item it's currently looking at. So it will see this as the item, and that will be item. And then the second time, this function here will be item, and that will get passed. And then the third time, this function here will be item, because it loops through all the elements in the array. So since these are functions, I can just invoke them. So this is going to invoke every function sitting in the array, and there are 3 of them. So when I run this, there we go, hello world 1, 2, 3. All right, these are the 2 concepts we want to have in mind, that I can use a variable which contains a string to dynamically grab a value off a property or method on an object, and that I can put functions into arrays and loop across that array and invoke all the functions sitting in the array. These are the 2 concepts that are fundamental to understanding the event emitter. All right, let's go build our own.